Welcome to Awaken the Mind, the NLP and Hypnosis Guide, hosted by David Uhas.
You're listening to Awaken the Mind, the NLP and Hypnosis Guide, a podcast that inspires the curious to the professional to discover meaningful content and pursue their passions. My name is David Uhas, and I'm a master NLP practitioner and hypnotist, best known for losing over 100 pounds and running 6 marathons in 2 years. And I'm sitting down with hypnotists, NLP practitioners, and coaches to talk about their process, the lessons they've learned, and how to make an impact in the lives of others.
Our guest today is Tami LoPresti, and in her words, my name is Tami LoPresti. I am a Love Your Life coach, and I help moms go from raising kids to discovering their big new life after those kids become adults. As a single mom of 3 daughters for 26 years, I know a thing or two about how this transition goes. In the beginning, it feels really scary and you aren't sure who you are or where to even start. You feel like it's all over and you didn't get to do all the things. And you wonder if you even did any of it right or not. And then I come along to show you that your whole life is actually right in front of you. You can now do all the things you always wanted to do. You can be the you that was buried inside you. You can finally do all the things you always put off. And now you get to have even better relationships with your children as adults than you ever had when they were kids. I take you from feeling scared and unsure to confident and excited. And it's fun too. Please welcome our guest today, the awesome, the powerful, fabulous, and fearless firewalker and beautiful Tami LoPresti. Hello, Tami.
Hello.
Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. It's great.
Oh, my pleasure. And our backstory is we were just at Tony Robbins.
That's right. Best thing ever.
Oh my goodness. Incredible. And we will talk some about that. But I found out so much more that you do and you're all about, and I want to share that with our listeners. And let's get started, like where it all began. Can you tell me about growing up and your life, your hobbies, interests, anything you want to share?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, mostly. Upstate New York when I was little, but Pennsylvania mostly. I was born around the Philly area, and I grew up about an hour north of there. And then I had kind of a rough childhood. We were very poor. And my parents weren't the best at being parents, I guess. They're wonderful people and I love them very much, but they were struggling because they had kids when they were young, you know. And anyway, so we moved a lot, like a lot. I think I was in over 20 different schools in my lifetime. We moved in the middle of the night a lot. Our electric and our phone and all of our utilities used to get shut off a lot. There wasn't always food, but we always had like all the things that we needed. The things that we really needed were love, and we had a lot of love in our house. And even though it was very chaotic and crazy, it was also the best childhood in the world because we were lucky. We had so much love inside, you know.
Nice.
And my best memories of my childhood are my mom and dad blasting Cat Stevens and Beatles music and dancing around the living room with each other, and all of us laughing and singing. And that's basically my childhood. That's what I remember from it. You know, we had a lot of rough times, but we had a lot of great times too.
Wow. I see that energy in you.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like dancing. That's all I want to do since Tony Robbins. My body won't stop moving now, which is good. So, let's see. And then, I don't know. And then I will also say I was molested as a child by my uncle. That I did not take that the way that other people do, I think. I think a lot of people take that as my life is over, someone destroyed me. For me, that was something that I had to learn how to deal with. And the way that I did that was I decided that I'm not a broken person. I'm not. Like, he didn't hurt me. He actually is the one hurting himself. And I took that as something to build me rather than break me. I also took that as um, strength, like that's my strength. Like, I go on because I was hurt and I was, abused and things. And the things that hurt me so much taught me the best things. The things that, were the hardest actually were the best. And, I didn't learn that right away, that took a while. But I call myself an experiencer. And the reason why I call myself that is because I've always been a person that has to actually go through something to understand it. As I got older, I realized I don't necessarily want firsthand experience all the time anymore. But I do learn through other people now more. But I have been through most things that you can imagine. I've been molested, I've been raped, I've been tortured, I've been um, in my early 20s, I had a boyfriend that was very, very cruel to me. And I went through very severe torture at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you want me to get into that, but
You're doing great.
okay. I don't want to keep going on, but I don't want to pretend it didn't happen, because it did.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I made the mistake of getting pregnant with his baby within a few weeks of knowing him. I really didn't know who he was. And at the time, I was already a single mother. I became a single mother at 17. And I quit school, and then I went back, and, whatever. Anyway, I met him. I was doing fine. I was living on my own. And when I met him, within about, I would say, like 2 months, he convinced me to quit my job because I was pregnant. My car had broken right before I met him, and he convinced me to take all of my money that I got from a tax return, instead of buying a car, to let him buy me a car. So it ended up in his name. He didn't put me on the insurance, so he kept threatening to take it from me, because it wasn't really mine. He managed to get me to, like, exclude all of my friends and family from my life really quickly. I didn't even realize that it was his idea. I actually thought that I made all the decisions, because I did. He would just suggest that people weren't good for me, and then I would push them out of my life. And so within a matter of, I would say, 3 to 4 months, I had nobody and nothing. I was pregnant. I moved in with him, got rid of my apartment, me and my daughter. My daughter was 3 or 4 years old at the time. And I had no job, no car in my name, not really much money. And I was stuck. I was really, really stuck. And then he spent the next part of my pregnancy just basically torturing me and abusing me. And then by the time I had the baby, he had already hired a lawyer to take the baby from me. And then after that, the baby was about 8 months old when he devised a plan to kill me. I lived through a Lifetime movie. I didn't know that was real, but that's actually real. Anyway, his roommate sat me and my sister down at the table and told me that he was actually going to kill me on my birthday. So I got out of there. I went to a shelter. And I went to court, and I got a PFA because he had choked me a week before that and beat up my kid. And so I got a PFA. And then the next week I had to see him face to face in court. And I ended up not getting the PFA because I had a lawyer that didn't support me. I had a free lawyer, and he had a very high priced lawyer. And I ended up not getting the PFA. So I ended up going back to him within a month because I was scared to lose my baby. And then for the next 2 to 3 months, he drugged me slowly until I went crazy. And then he put me in a mental hospital after tying me up. And I woke up. I mean, it's obviously there's a lot more details. I'm trying to skim the top. But I woke up in a mental hospital. I was there for, well, not a mental hospital, but the hospital, the mental part of the hospital. I woke up there about a week later, not knowing where I was or what happened to me and not remembering. And then I spent another week there. And when I went home, I found out that they had actually killed me a few times because my chest was very black and blue. Or it wasn't actually black and blue. It felt black and blue. And I asked my mom, why does it feel like someone's standing on me every time I breathe? And she said, it's because they had to restart your heart so many times because they kept ODing you on medication. They didn't know what was wrong with you or what made you go crazy because I had never done drugs. I don't know anything about drugs, honestly. I smoked weed in high school and that's it. So basically that happened. And then I had a near-death experience right after that changed my life. And I literally had an angel come to me and tell me it was time to go. And during that experience, I realized that life was a choice, and she gave me the choice to come back, and I did. And she said, the one thing that she said that I'll never forget is, it's going to be really, really hard. Are you sure you want to do this? And I said, absolutely, I want to do this. And I came back, and from that time on, I promised myself that I would never be unhappy again. I would never stay in a relationship that was unhappy. I would never drive a car that made me unhappy or work a job that makes me unhappy or anything like that. So from then on, that was about 20 to 25 years ago ish. I've lived that way ever since, where if I recognize that I'm unhappy, I set out to change it. I don't always change it right away, but I do make changes, and I have shifted my life completely since then.
Yeah. I want to just real quick interrupt your state.
Yes.
Exciting, wonderful person that you are now.
Yes.
And I want to acknowledge your vulnerability, the courage it takes to be vulnerable. So thank you for sharing that story with all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also want to acknowledge, there's so much I want to acknowledge. I want to make sure I remember it all. That we don't control always what happens to us in life, but we do control the meaning we want to make of our life moving forward.
That's right. Things mean what you say they mean, right?
Yes. Yeah. And you chose to make a meaning that empowered you. And I really want to, I see that in you. I listen. The reason I got in contact with you is because I listened to your experience about your fire walk, and I just saw this beautiful soul that was just being transparent about the experience, the fears, the just being human and sharing the beautiful you that's inside of you that you're shining outward. So thank you. Thank you for being you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share. I don't tell my story a lot, obviously. I don't tell a lot of people. I don't mind telling people, though, because I don't feel like that was me. I feel like that was somebody else now. And I've come so far that it's just it's not something I associate to as me, but it's something that I want to use to empower other people. I don't want people to take the things that they've gone through and make them mean that they're a bad person, or that I certainly caused that to happen in certain ways to myself. I made choices, and in those choices I had power, but I was not the abuser. And if I continue to tell that story as if I'm the victim, then I am now abusing myself, because the abuser is no longer here abusing me in my life, So I don't want to go on every day saying, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. I'm not a victim. I am fine. Like I'm fine. The person that has the real problem is the person who did this to me.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he actually does live very unhappy. And I actually think that's sad, because I don't want him to live that way. I don't want anybody to live
Yeah.
that way,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You're a caring person.
yeah, absolutely. so, so anyway, after that, I went on to fight custody of my kids for 6.5 years. I eventually won. I got to raise them, thank God. And we moved across the country to Austin, Texas. That's where we live now. They're all grown. Two of them have been to college. One's halfway through, one's done ish, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
And then my third one graduated and doesn't know what she wants to do yet, and that's totally fine with me. I tell them that they can live with me forever as long as they pay rent after 18, because I don't want them to ever think that life is free. So I charge them a little bit of rent, and I love having them in my life. So I'm very happy to have my girls with me. I have 3 daughters. So
Good. So I was excited to find out that you're a coach. You do life coaching.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
share? I mean, what brought you into that?
So I've always been a natural life coach. I didn't know that. I didn't know that actually existed. I thought there was something wrong with me because I can't keep a normal job. I tend to go and I'll do a job for a while because it interests me. And then like I'll go in there and I restructure their entire place as long as they let me do that. And then once I get everything running the way that it's supposed to, then I'm like done. I have no interest left, and I've been like that my whole life. And I always thought there was something wrong with me, but then I found out I actually have an entrepreneurial brain. So like I actually have a brain that wants to make things work systematically, and I always come in and try to fix things, but I don't actually want their things. I don't want to be part of their dream. I want to be part of my own dream. So anyway, I've also always been someone who empowers everyone around me. Like I am always everyone's biggest fan, like I believe that there is so much inside of us that is just dying to come out. And I can't believe that so many people live unhappy. I don't get it. Like, I do not get it. Do they not see that there are literally thousands of choices every single minute? Like, walk down your street every day for a month. You will see something different every single day. Every time you turn, everywhere. I mean, there are so many choices in this world. And we're going to make the choice to be unhappy? What? Like, no. So I've never understood that. I'm not saying I haven't gotten caught up in it myself. I'm just saying it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't get it. I don't get why there's this huge world and all these people and all these fascinating things, and you wouldn't want to be as big as you can be, So I've always seen myself on stages, not on purpose. I'm terrified of that, but I've seen that my whole life since I was little. I am supposed to help people. For some reason, there is this thing that flows through me that speaks through me to people, and they hear me. And I just want to impact as many people as I can. I want to tell them there is nothing in this world that can break you. That's a choice. Like you get to choose every single day how you take your day, and everyone has bad days. Everyone has hard days, and I've had plenty of them, I promise. But I sit here every day and I choose again. And sometimes I choose 100 times a day to have a good day, But becoming a life coach, I was actually a prayer to God. I've been a rideshare driver for 4 years, doing Lyft and Uber. I officially quit as of last week. That was my declaration at Tony Robbins because it was not making me happy anymore. I will go back when it's fun again, maybe, just to do it for fun, but I'll never do it for money again. That was making me crazy. But But anyway, I've been a rideshare driver for 4 years, and about 2 years into it, I had so many people tell me that I changed their lives just in a 15-minute ride, you know, that they just kept saying, you should be a life coach, you should be a life coach. And quite honestly, I thought that was hokey, like, because you don't actually need to be certified. And I thought that was really strange and weird. And, you know, I did actually get some certification because I was not willing to do it that way. But I researched what it was, and then I happened to have $300 in my wallet at the time because I was carrying $300 around because I was doing this like manifestation challenge. And anyway, so I had $300 in my wallet. There was this life coaching program that came up for sale. And I wasn't doing great, but I was doing okay. You know, my bills were paid. That's me doing okay, you know, and as a single mom, you know. And anyway, so I woke up early one morning and I was supposed to be somewhere, and then I was going to work all night, and I was just talking to God because I'm always talking to God. And I was just like, well, should I do this? You know, should I continue all the things I'm doing, which was like 5 different jobs with my car, you know, or should I go in this direction with the life coaching and just take a chance on this? And, you know, of course, God doesn't talk right back to you immediately, not all the time anyway, but sometimes he does, but not all the time. And so I went to this event with my friend, and then I went out to drive that night to work. I was going to work all night. I gave one ride and my engine went on my car. And my car was a really nice car. And it was very expensive to fix it, and I did not have the money to fix it, and there was no way. And I was like, okay, well, there's my answer. I'm supposed to be a life coach. That's how I became a life coach. I know that was a very long explanation, but that's the truth. That's how I became a life coach. And it was a direct answer to a question I asked God. And that's how God always answers me. Whenever I say, what should I do? He sends a lightning bolt right in front of me, and I have no other choice. And you know what? I kind of like that. You know, I declared that I was going to quit my job at Tony Robbins. I came home and my car worked for a meeting that I had to go to, and then it died and I had to call roadside assistance, and it's sitting in my driveway now, and I'm not sure what's wrong with it. And I have just enough money to pay the rest of my bills for the month, and that's it. So I did quit my job, whether I like it or not now, which is good. That's okay. I like that. I like the live or die kind of feeling, so it's all right.
Well, I also want to acknowledge you have an incredible ability with building rapport. You were talking earlier about speaking, you know, into others listening, and yeah, you have a very, there's just this glow about you that I think is really good with rapport building. And I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just thought
well, thank you. I like that.
I've been here with you for 15 minutes, and yes, you should be a life coach.
Yeah, I definitely should be a life coach. I really do feel like
if you
that,
want
honestly.
to, and it sounds like you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, tell me, you're also an author. Tell me about, you write children's books. Very cool.
So I was writing children's books. I haven't written one in a long time. I was writing and illustrating children's books. I did 2. Technically, I only wrote one of them. My grandmother wrote the other one. She's not with us anymore, but she wanted someone to illustrate it. So I illustrated it for her and got it published and everything. And she was very happy to see that happen finally, because she had wanted that to happen for a really long time. So that was the second book I did. The first book I did was right before that. And I stopped doing children's books, honestly, because I felt like everyone's voice was bigger than mine at the time. And a lot of people told me it was stupid. And they're like, you're never going to make money at this. This is so dumb. And I was like, but the kids love it. Like, I was reading it to elementary kids and they loved it. So I thought it was great. And I had a vision for it. But I thought, you know, they were right. And so I had a bunch of books started. I still have them started technically. But I stopped doing that a few years ago. And maybe someday I'll pick it up again. I'm not sure, but my books are still for sale on Amazon. Somehow somebody buys them every month or two because I get like these little royalty checks every few months, and I'm like, wow, another $5. There must be another Alyssa born in the world, because the one is called Alyssa and the Big Climb after my daughter. And my ex-boyfriend used to always have this joke that like every time an Alyssa is born in the world, someone buys a book, you know? It's like, I've never advertised the books, but somehow people buy them. They find them and buy them, which is kind of cool, you know?
Well, I'm going to buy your book when we get off of this call.
Okay, that sounds good.
Well, and everything has, what is the season,
Yeah.
Seasons
Yeah.
cycle, and they return in their
I
time.
still love my children's books. I love the characters I created, for the first one. And I love the vision I had for it. It's just, I'm not married to it anymore. And I think I've just moved on, which is
That's
fine.
all good.
Someday I may pick it up. Someday I may not. I don't know. Have other books I want to write too. So it's okay.
Cool. So let's talk about Tony Robbins. Tell me about your experience there. If you want to share the firewalk experience, whatever you want to share. What were your big ahas?
Well, I could tell you what brought me to Tony Robbins.
Okay. Yeah.
So I follow this girl called Catherine Zenkina. She's the manifestation babe. I don't know if you've heard of her, but she's amazing. She teaches all about law of attraction, manifestation, and all that, and wealth mindset, which I desperately have needed in my life, still need. I'm getting there. But anyway, she talks about Tony Robbins and how he's changed her life. And I didn't really know who he was. Like, I've always heard of him, but I didn't really know much about him. And then there was this real estate wealth expo that came to Austin, like, about a year and a half ago, I would say. And Tony Robbins was on the list of speakers. And I was like, oh, cool. It's only like $100. I'm going to go to this, And I bought 2 tickets, and I was going to bring my boyfriend at the time, but then we broke up. And so I decided I'm just going to go alone, whatever, and anyway, they sent me 3 tickets in the mail, which was kind of cool. But I couldn't find anyone that wanted to go. So I was like, well, whatever, I'm going to go. So I went really early in the morning. The place was so freaking freezing. It was ridiculous because Tony likes it freezing. And I thought I was going to die. So I finally convinced my daughter to come down halfway through the day and bring me my jacket. And then she stayed, which was pretty awesome. And then I convinced one of my best friends to come at the end of the day just for Tony Robbins, which was awesome also. And anyway, but so yeah, I was like kind of in the front on the right-hand side, really close actually to the stage. And the whole day just kind of drug on. A lot of the speakers were great. Pitbull blew me away. He was amazing. Like he told his story of how he got famous, which he did not tell at this event. It was really good. It really, really moved me. Anyway, and then Tony came and he did basically all of day one at the UPW event was this one day thing that he did, except for the fire walking and like a few other things. But he told a lot of the same stories. And I was laughing, I was crying, I was everything. But he taught us how to change our state. Well, after that day, my state never went back. Like I'm not saying I never had a bad day again. I've had bad days. I've not had very many bad days since then. Like I don't take my bad things bad anymore. Like they're bad in moments. Like when my car wouldn't start the other day, I was like, God damn it, this sucks, And I was like, I hate this. I hate when I make a decision and then the universe all conspires to make me do it, And I was kind of mad at first. And then I was like, it's fine, whatever. I mean, I need to work on my life coaching. So like, let's do that. So I'm like, whatever, I'm stuck at home, good, and I just turn it around. And ever since that day, I have done that ever since. I've never gone back to my limited thinking. I just haven't. I did go through a crash though, like just like UPW. He says you might get sick afterward, and I know a lot of people did experience that. I didn't experience that this time, not yet anyway. Hopefully I don't. But there were some big things in my life at that time that I needed to change. And for some reason, when you interact with Tony the first time, you know it. I mean, and the second time too, and the third time, I guess. I don't know, but every time probably. But you know it. You go home knowing you need to make these big changes and you don't have a choice anymore. There's a before and after. So I needed to make big changes in my life, and I was scared of them, and I didn't know how to change them. And I'll just tell you, I was supporting my dad. I've been supporting my dad off and on all of my adult life. And it was getting to a point where I couldn't handle it anymore because my kids are grown now. And now I'm still supporting my dad. And it was killing me, like literally inside killing me. And it was the one thing in my life I didn't know how to change. And after leaving Tony, I was like, that's it. It's got to change. It's got to change, or I have to change. And I went through this time where I got very suicidal for like a week, which I haven't been suicidal since my 20s. And I just said to God one day, I said, if this is going to be my life, then I don't want to live. Just take me away. And then this big thing sparked right in front of me. It was like undeniable. I thought I was imagining it, but like this tower, it looked like it got hit by lightning right in front of me because I was in my car when I was thinking this to God. And it just like sparked really big. And I went, oh my God, did I just see that? And I'm like, did I imagine that in my head? Because it was directly after I thought it. And then I saw these people at a restaurant run to the window and look up, and I saw this guy in a minivan be in front of me look up, and I was like, wow, I didn't imagine that. And then I was like, okay, God, I guess I have a purpose. And I was like, okay, if you're gonna give me a purpose, like you guide me and you hold my hand and you show me the way, because I can't do this alone anymore. And so from that time on, I don't know, I know God's with me. God's always been with me, but I just keep reminding him. I'm like, you said you said you were going to be here for me. Be here for me. I need you. And I did make those big changes. I did. My dad did move on. He's living on a boat now. He's very happy. Everything's fine with him. My house is my own again, and things are different, and I've been good ever since, but I will say that is what brought me here, because I knew that's what brought me to UPW. I went to another one-day event later in Houston, and then I knew after the first time though that like I had to go to unleash the power within. I had this really strong feeling that something big was going to happen there, and I couldn't put my finger on what. Like I was like, am I going to meet the man of my dreams? Am I going to meet some best friend for life? Am I going to make connections that are amazing, or is this just going to change me forever? And quite honestly, I'm still not sure exactly what I got out of it totally, but I do know for sure that there is a before and there is an after. UPW shifted me in a way that there is no going back. Like when they said the third day, life will never be the same, nothing will ever be the same, or whatever that saying was, that is absolutely true. There is a before and there is an after. And the reason why is because you can't go back to knowing what you know now. Like what you didn't know before, you know now. And you can't just go back. Like your brain can't go, oh, I'm so scared of people. I'm so scared of people looking at me and judging me. Like, judge me, go ahead. You know, who cares? What is going to happen? Oh, you're going to be upset. Wow. You be upset over there. I really don't give a crap. You know, like, I'm sick of living small. And I have always seen myself on a stage all of my life. When I see TED Talks, that's me up there. When I hear speakers, that's me in them. And that's been my life, my whole life. And I've never understood that feeling. But when I was at Tony Robbins just this last couple weeks, I just a week and a half ago, I was at the furthest seat in the furthest back part of that arena against the wall, literally on the last day. I was in the last chair in the middle section against the wall, which I'm kind of happy I ended up there. It was pretty nice, actually, because I went alone and I sat with different people every day. And the third day actually destroyed me and I needed comfort. So I sat with people I knew from a couple of days before that last day, and that's where they were sitting. And I'm glad that I ended up there because I watched all the people on that stage and I thought, I'm going to be looking at this seat from that stage someday, you know, not even that long from now, I feel like. And I'm going to be helping people. I'm going to be taking this voice and I'm going to beam it through that audience just like they did, you know, just like every one of them did. And I'm going to impact people and help them and teach them that it's not over unless you say it's over. Like, you know, people can't actually break you. That's a choice, you know, like, I mean, I guess unless you're really physically messed up. But the truth is, look at that guy without the legs and with just one arm. I mean, he didn't get broken.
Yes.
I mean,
yeah. So for our listeners, there was what day was that? Day 3 or day?
It was day 3, and his name was Nick.
Had no legs.
Yeah.
Missing one arm that he had cutting off so he could wrestle, and one finger on his one arm, and he had the attention of every single person in that place. And it was him speaking from his heart. And, you know, again, I want to just keep acknowledging you when you're talking about you want to be this person one day. I already see it in you. You know, you've got this just incredible, you're just a natural speaker, and you've got this beautiful story, a powerful story that there are people out there that need to hear this story from you because of where you've been and where you are now.
I agree. I completely 100% agree.
Yeah.
And I think I am there now. I think I have been living this.
Yes.
I think I just haven't like allowed it or something yet. You know, that's all.
It's happening. It's already happening.
Yeah, it's happening. Definitely. Yeah.
It's interesting. I've done some transformational different types of trainings, and it's like when you're trying to tell something that's funny that you saw happen, it's like, you just had to be there to experience it. It's like called experiential learning, to where you have to experience it to really fully get it. And that takes me to when I got up on the grass right before the fire.
Yeah.
Can't really put in words.
Did you look at the coal?
I did. The lady had to lift my chin because I was like focused on the coal.
Yeah.
But tell me about your experience. I mean, it was incredible.
Oh my goodness, I was so scared when I got there, but like, I swear to you, before I went to that event, like, I am a very strong person. I almost try to do things that are crazy. I do try to do things that are crazy just to be funny and stuff. Like, I've always been like that my whole life. So people always just think I'm crazy, you know, not really, but, you know, fun crazy. And so like before this event, I'm like, I could walk on fire, whatever, you know, like, how could that be a big deal? Like, I really honestly, I just didn't think it was a big deal, you know? And then I get there and Tony's talking about it and he's like, warning us that you could actually get hurt. I mean,
He wasn't helping. He wasn't helping at first.
No, right? I hadn't thought about that.
If you fall on your face, that's the worst thing that could happen. Like,
right? I
hadn't even thought about
Did you even think about that before he said it? But like, I didn't even think anything bad could happen. I just didn't even think it was a big deal. And then he like brought up, oh yeah, you could get burned, and I was like, I guess I could, but whatever. I still thought whatever. And then like I get down there and I'm like, I look at the lines of this coal fire, and I'm like, oh God, that's really fire. Like, that's real. This is not like pretend. And then these guys show up with like these wheelbarrows full of coal. Did you see those?
No.
Oh, I honestly wonder if I created that in my head. I didn't go with anyone, so I don't know who to ask, but I wonder if I just saw that in my head, but I'm pretty sure I saw it. There were two guys that had wheelbarrows of these hot burning embers, and they had a shovel, and they were shoveling it in mine and the one next to me. I'm sure I saw that. If I didn't really see it for real, I created it, but either way, it was real for me. And I was like, oh God, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? This is so stupid. That was my thought. And then I went, I don't have to do this. There's nobody here that knows me. Like, I literally am in Miami by myself. Like, no one would know. I could just tell people I did it, and then I was like, no, I'm just not a liar, so I can't do that. But so I was like, oh, how bad could this be? And then there's a girl that's like really, really scared, and they have to talk her through it. And she's taking like 2 or 3 minutes. And as she's standing there, I'm really thinking about my decision. And I'm going, I could get out of line. I could just go back to my hotel. I could get more sleep than less, But anyway, and then she finally goes, everyone cheers, woohoo, yay for you, and I was happy for her, but I was mostly happy that we could just get this over with, because I didn't want to keep standing there thinking about it. And I really didn't know if I could get back in state because I had thought about it too much. And then I got up there and I was standing on the grass, and there's this coach guy next to me, and he's going, it's okay. And he sees me looking at the coal, and he's like, no, put your chin up, look straight ahead, look at the guy down there. And the guy down there is going, you can do this. And, and then they start doing the cool moss, and yes. And I hear people like saying it and clapping and stuff. And I was like, oh, who cares? Let's just do it. And I just did it. And the craziest thing is that I turned around and I went, did I just do that? Because I did, but it didn't feel like I did. I don't remember the heat. I remember the grass, and I remember the way that felt under my feet. And I remember the wetness a little bit in the grass. And then I remember them hosing my feet down. But the actual coals, I know I walked on them. I didn't feel them. I didn't feel heat. I didn't feel anything. I don't remember that part. It's like my brain just said, nope, not this part, but it didn't burn me. It didn't hurt me. It's nothing. I mean, it was like I didn't do anything at all. But then I looked at it and I went, I really did do that. And I went, woo, I did that, and that was awesome. But I mean, you said you didn't feel it either.
I didn't. Same thing. I thought I was going to, because it was kind of dark walking back, and I thought I was going to lift my feet up and there'd be blisters all over them, even though I didn't feel it. It was the strangest thing. I mean, totally in state, almost amnesia between that. I do remember feeling it being warm that first step, and I remembered I was supposed to say cool moss, and then I got into that really quick.
Good.
But from that point till I felt the water on my feet, I don't even remember at all.
I mean, I felt the heat walking up to it. Like when you got closer, it was already hot in Miami, so you're hot just going outside, and it was freezing in there, so it's a real difference, you know. And then you get up to it and you feel the heat and you see the fire and you're like, I don't know, like you feel it, but then you walk on it and you don't. And that's just the magic of Tony. That's all I can say. Like he really did train us, and he really did. He really proved that your mind can overcome anything, and it can. I mean, I've proven that 100 times in my life, but that was important, you know. And I'll tell you, not everyone probably knows if they haven't gone to a Tony event yet. Like this event, day 3 will kill you. So like day 1 is really important because day 3, you need to know that your brain is that strong. Because when you're standing in a room with 13,000 people and your souls are crying out, you need that. You need that to come back to. You need your brain to say, I walked on fire. I can handle this.
Yes.
You know? Yes.
Yes. Make your move.
Yes. Make your move. My move's kind of stupid, but it's just like, I don't care.
And I want to just talk a moment about this powerful metaphor. If we were to zoom way out from looking at that firewalk, and anytime that we're faced with anything in our life that's a challenge or something that we're wanting to take on, we have doubt, limiting beliefs, things like that. It's interesting how we have a moment to make the choice for that first step.
Yeah.
Right? That first step. And then we go to the other side and celebrate. And I think so often people don't take that first step because it's so scary, you know? But once you take that first step, you're going to get to the other side.
Yeah, thank God, right?
Yes.
But all change is scary, but you know, the only thing honestly in life that you can depend on is change. Like, can't depend on people, can't depend on jobs or situations or money or any of that. The only literal thing that will happen is change, you know?
That's right.
So like, I don't understand why we're so scared of change. You know, like we always think it's so bad. Change is always good.
Change is good because we're alive.
Yeah. But either it brings you to something that you're going to learn from or something that you're going to celebrate from. But either way, it shifts you out of whatever you're in, and it's always time to grow. You know, like you get to grow and grow and grow. And man, I hope I never stop growing. You know?
Well, speaking of growing and moving forward, tell me what's next for you.
So my 2 declarations that I was going to change when I got home are quit my job because it was making me unhappy, and launch my life coaching finally because I've been scared to do it. And I just happen to have a program that just started with my business coach the Tuesday that we were at Tony Robbins. And so I'm just catching up on that, but it's a launching program. So
nice.
So I'm working on that right now, and I'm hoping that I start taking on clients that pay soon because I've only taken on free clients so far, which has gone well, but free clients are not exactly in it the way that I think paid clients will be. And I think that it's time to finally start helping people because I've been saying I will for a long time. You know, so.
I assert that you have been helping people for a long time.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I help people all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, even with just doing rideshare, almost every night I would pull over and turn off my app and talk people through things. Like I've talked people out of suicide. I've helped people with their marriages. I've sat on the side of the road with people crying because, like this girl crying because her husband wanted to get out of the car, and then he came back and we talked it out, you know. And I mean, I have I don't know. I've saved women that were, with men that wouldn't let them go. I went and found a girl, and I mean, like, I always say, God, send me to who needs me and who I need. And directly after that, I always have people that are like going through hard times or need help somehow. And I've always used rideshare. Actually, I've always used everything in my life as a way to help people. I love people. I've always loved people. I've been a very extreme people person, so I meet people everywhere I go, which is pretty awesome.
So your company name is Love Your Life Coach.
Well, so I call myself a Love Your Life Coach. I run a Facebook group called How to Love Your Life. And my actual, what I'm helping people with is moms that have grown children or almost grown children. I'm helping them to decide what's next. I'm helping them to get excited for what's next in their life. And I want, like, that's the time of life that I'm in, where all of my kids are grown now. And about 2 years ago, I had kind of a breakdown moment where I was like, oh my God, this has been everything, and what am I supposed to do? Who am I? Like, I've always been them. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do next. And then all of a sudden, within like 6 months, I started making new friends. I started going out more. I started dating again. I started, like, everything started opening up. I decided to take on life coaching. Everything, so, like, I want to teach other women that. I want to teach them that it's not the end, it's the beginning. And also, I have the greatest connection with my kids now as adults. If you're just guided a little bit in how to respect them as adults rather than treat them as children, they respect you back and you become peers almost. And it's like, it's a whole new world. Like, we share everything and we're like best friends. And I feel like, I want to teach other people that. I definitely want to teach other people that, because it's awesome. And I'm so excited about my life now, So,
and it shows.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Tami. I so appreciate your time and your personality and your true nature that comes through with your smile and your tonality of voice.
Cool.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really glad that I did this.
Thank you for joining us today with Awaken the Mind,
Relax.
hosted by David Juhas.
Awaken the mind, you need to understand. If you can't, you must, and if you must, you can. Now that I got you, let me put you in a trance. Got you feeling hypnotic, your mind, let me massage it. Your thoughts are getting quiet, your stress subsiding. You starting to see images, but it ain't no mirages. Think it's time to calibrate. Take a breath and concentrate. Get into your subconscious. Time to feel the energy, the brain waves. Let's go deep into your memory. Beware of self, let the worries melt. All you see is you and you don't see no one else. Auditory digital, talking to yourself. It might seem bizarre, a feeling you never felt. This is your time to shine. Awaken the mind, the NLP and hypnosis guide. Yeah, come on.